Okay. Let's see. Today is. What is today? Today's the 6th, April the 6th, and it is 10:21. Yeah, it's been week and a day. No, week and a day since I've done it. Been pretty eventful. I went and got my hair cut. Now you probably observed the nice lady that cut my hair. She cut it real short. I'm a kind of guy. I'm from the 50s. I'm a DA kind of guy. For you folks this generation don't know what a DA is. DA is called a duck's ass. And what happens is you have their hair long enough on the sides that you can comb it back real slick. See, you put that greasy kid stuff on. You probably noticed I'm a greasy kid stuff guy. Anyway, put lots of the gooey, greasy kid stuff on, and you slick the sides back, and then you curl them in the back, and it looks like a duck's ass. The seam down the back, so they call it a DA. Well, I've always worn a DA. If I wasn't wearing what they called a DA, I had a burr. Some months I have a burr. Winter months, of course, DA. Well, as I got older, burrs fell out of fashion. I didn't do it anymore, but I always kept my DA. Well, anyway, the nice lady over here, she's of a little later generation than me, about 20 years, give or take a little bit. Not really that familiar with just exactly how you leave your hair for. She does a good haircut, but she cuts the sides so short. You'll probably notice I get little things sticking out, little spines sticking out. That's because I'm trying to comb my hair back. It's so short that it won't do it. And I get plenty of glue on there. I mean, it should stay, but it's not staying. Anyway, got a haircut and a beard trim. And I hope I'm more presentable. Anyway, what to do this week? Ma took me to Waco. Tiana took me to Waco. We went to Men's Warehouse, and we started to localize the inflation there. I won't tell you what she spent, but it blew my hair back. It won't stick, but it blew it back. Wow. I'm told that, I clean up pretty good. I wear a suit, tie, and all that stuff, and do all right. Well, this coming weekend, I think the 13th, we're going to her 50th. She's getting to be an old lady. Going to her 50th class reunion, and she wants me top notch. So she took me down, and she bought me, other than underdrawers, she bought me everything from hide up. New ties, new shirts, new shoes, new socks, new slacks, all tailored. New sport coat. Sucker is nice. Boy, I tell you, I probably have enough vanity that I'll, take a picture of it and stick it on Facebook, show you the new me. Anyway, we did that. In fact, I got to go down Tuesday. The tailoring won't be done until this coming Tuesday. You got to get down and pick my stuff up for the big weekend appearance. Let me see, what else did I do? Got a lot of things on my list here, but I think that by the time I got finished with it, it would be so long that it'd be impractical. One thing I've been having trouble with, I don't know whether it's YouTube or whether it's me. I think it's my server. And last week's entry, when I put it on, that thing got to 88% of load and quit. It got to 98% of load and quit. Then it got to 99% of load and quit. And I started that thing somewhere around midnight, and it was after 3 when it finally decided that it would stay up long enough to where I could load the thing and put it online. I think what the problem is the bandwidth that we get here at the house. After everybody else down the line gets theirs, I don't get enough. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping tonight works a little better. Anyway, My darling and I, we were laying there in bed this morning, and she says, "Why don't we take a road trip? Just take a ride." In fact, we had plans of driving out in our little Kia and staying overnight someplace and then driving back when you'll observe that I'm here. We said, let's go to Austin. That's the state capital. Well, it was to us going to Austin was like taking somebody from Texas and parachuting them into Manhattan. I mean, you don't know where anything's at. There's no place to park. There's just scads of people. It was even hot. I feel certain that it was probably 90 plus down there in Austin today. Now, we did get out, walked around the Capitol building there, took some videos, and I'm hoping that I can mail those with what I'm doing here and some stills. I've got some of the stills already on Facebook, and for those of you that have been listening to me moan and groan, our little camera, our little Kodak EasyShare camera, for some reason, it'll take pictures, fine pictures. You can load them on the computer, put them in a file. But if you want them boogers to go to Facebook, it won't load up. Just will not on either computer. So I have to assume that the software in the camera is corrupted somehow, because whatever it takes to transfer from a file in the computer to Facebook won't work on either computer. But today we used this camera. Well, really not for the first time, but for the first time in a long time. This camera would take stills. And this was the only camera, this was the only camera we took and used. And I took stills with it, and it just took crackerjack stills, really nice. So we were going to go out and buy another new small camera, Nikon or something like that, because of course Kodak has gone broke and isn't supporting certain parts of their software and whatnot. We were just going to get away from Kodak, which breaks my heart, but that's what we'll have to do. But this thing worked just fine. Have no complaints at all. So with any luck at all, this is going to be our camera all summer, stills and motion. Anyway, we got down there in Austin, walked around the Capitol building. There was a bunch of teachers out there bemoaning the fact that I think the Texas legislature, Rick Perry, my buddy Rick, and the Texas legislature, they've more or less come out in favor of arming teachers in the schools. Keep the bad guys off. We'll have all the teachers packing, and they can get shot too. Anyway, there was a group of educators down there on the Capitol steps with PA systems and whatnot, and they were not nuts about this prospect. They didn't want it to happen. And on a couple of the tapes, if it works out to where you can meld them together, you'll hear them talking. Anyway, we stayed there at the Capitol, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour, walked around, took pictures. And we got back in the car. And that's when we discovered that Austin is really a major metropolitan area. The wife said, let's go to 6th Street. That's where everything's at. Boy, she knows what she's talking about. Everything was there. Cars, wall-to-wall cars, people. I mean, you couldn't have found a place to park if you'd have wanted to. After we left and we were on our way home, she told me that there was a barbecue place down there that she had wanted to go to. She never mentioned it before we were about halfway home, but she was rather disappointed about that. Of course, if she had said, I want to go to, Abdul's barbecue place, I'd have found a place to park on the way to gone. One of the problems we had was, of course, we had Gypsy with us. And when it's hot like that, you can't find shade. There's just no way to leave the dog in the car. So I think that was her primary concern. It's why she didn't mention it again, because she knew that, there was no way that we were going to be able to get out and walk around and go in and have a nice barbecue with the dog. They're not going to let her in. So anyway, we drove around, got lost, had no idea where I was at. I did know that south was back north was back that way, and from where the sun was at, I figured east was that way. And we stopped at a grocery store. She went in, we were hungry, and she got us a couple of yogurts. Greek yogurts. I don't know what the Greeks got about having sweet yogurt, but it was just plain white, clabbered on top. Mine was strawberry. Stir around the bottom, there was a couple of strawberries in the bottom of it, but it didn't have much effect on the clabber taste. I'm not a yogurt. I like Yoplait, but Yoplait is, the sissy's yogurt. It almost tastes like ice cream. But this stuff wasn't. This is the real stuff, man. I imagine my innards are really lubed up and working, because this stuff was straight yogurt. Anyway, we ate our yogurt, and at that juncture, I asked her, I said, "Got any idea where we're at?" She says, "Nope." Of course, came to the realization we're lost. 35 is the main interstate that runs north and south from Austin back up to where we live. Didn't have the foggiest idea where 35 was. So yours truly went to the store, interrupted one of the checkers, and I actually found an English-speaking American, yeah, Americans, that's Texan for American. I got me an English-speaking American, nice lady bagger, and she knew how to give directions. Told me, make a right on this here street that I had, go down a ways, hit 71, make a left, follow it, it would go right to 35. Boy, was she right. We were on our way home. And needless to say, our road trip wasn't really what we anticipated. I know that next time we go, we're going west. Go to Monahans, Big Spring, someplace where you can pull over to the curb and there's not 30,000 other people there. And if you find a restaurant that looks pretty good, you got a place to park. Of course, if it was as hot as it was today, we still couldn't have done it with a kid in the car or the dog. Now, I have, at times, gone in a restaurant, left the car idling with the air conditioning running. And works out good. Of course, the air conditioner, it keeps the climate control going in there. You can go out every now and then. And we were in some real heavy, hot traffic today. And one thing I observed is that my little Kia doesn't overheat. Doesn't show a sign. The needle stays right there. It doesn't even wiggle up a little bit. So I think in the future, of course, summer months are coming. We go out. I won't have any qualms about just leaving the dog in the car. Lock it up, extra set of keys, leave the ignition running, leave the leave dog in the car with the air going. Anywho, I tell you what we did do. When we left here, that Kia had 122 miles on the trip odometer. And it's something on the order of about 150, 175 miles to Austin, one way. And we went down there, ran around Austin, and came back on the same tank that had the 122 on it. Now, that thing's only got a 12-gallon tank. So I'm going to go fill it up in the morning. And I'll give you a report about what kind of mileage. I think I've had it log as high as 36.6. Usually it does someplace between 30 and 33. But I think it did very well today, so that pleases me. A little automatic, air running, yay. Good car. Good inexpensive car. Once again, I won't say cheap. It ain't cheap, but it's a good car. I had a request from Tracy. There's a It isn't a story, it's a real happening. Something that I did in years past with my darling wife. Now, for years we were bikers. I'm going to tell this because Tracy brought it up and he reminded me of it. Anyway, we were bikers. Had all the tents and all the rain suits and all the stuff. And from time to time, we would take off 2-3 weeks at a time and ride. And we have been, I'd say border to border, but we've been up in Canada as far as Watson Lake, up in Yukon Territory. And we've gone up the St. Lawrence River till the road stopped. Now, we have been down to the Mexican border and never went into Mexico. Don't have the kahunas to do that. Not in this day and time, and even back then, which was 20 years ago, that just wasn't going to do it. But anyway, one time we had a Honda 750, full dressed out, windshield, everything, very nice bike. We rode that thing up into Canada, and we had 3 weeks. And we went up to Toronto and up along the north shore of Lake Ontario, went to Ottawa and Quebec City. I remember Quebec City was pretty. But Queen Mary was Canadian National Independence Day. We're looking around this big, beautiful hotel that's up there. Boy, I mean, the thing looks like something out of Switzerland. Any of you's ever been into Canada or ever seen pictures of Quebec City, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think they called it the Citadel, but it was a hotel for years. And when we got up there, it was an old folks' home. But it didn't matter. Gorgeous, huge, big thing. Anyway, we did that, and we turned around and started heading south through the maritime provinces, and started raining. As we got down to the U.S. line, we crossed into the United States at a place called Rosser's Point, New York. And by that time, it was raining. And those Canadians keep good track of you. I went into Canada at Niagara Falls on a motorcycle, and I left Canada at Rosser's Point, New York. And the guy asked me why I didn't go back to Niagara Falls. I want to know how he knew who I was and that I had entered Canada at Niagara Falls. You talk about good record keeping. Didn't amount to nothing. He just asked me, and I told him, I said, well, this is where we're at. We've done our touring up there, and now we're going back. But you could knock me over with a feather, because, I mean, how'd he know? Anyway, we went down. We bypassed New York City. New York City's not the type of thing you do on a motorcycle. It just isn't. Anyway, we went on down to Washington, D.C. And Tiana had never been to Washington, so we went there, and we found a place where we could pitch our tent at an RV place. And I remember that first night we were there, we rode into town and went to the Capitol building, and the Navy Bluegrass Band was playing bluegrass on the mall side of the Capitol building, and we sat out there and watched the sun go down and listened to them play bluegrass. That was neat. That was a happening. Next day we get up and went to the Smithsonian Institute. I have to interject something here. I had either AA or AAA battery in my pocket. And I used to have a habit of always carrying a paper clip with me. And I'd take that paper clip and I'd pull it out until there was a hook in on one end, and then the wire would come down and it'd go across like this, and I could take it. I could dig in my ears. Oh, your ears get itching. Oh, yeah. Never stick anything in your ear bigger than your elbow. But a paper clip's great. Oh, man, that's good. Anyway, I got this paper clip and this battery in my pocket, I didn't know the battery was for no purpose. It was just there. The paper clip was in case the old ear itched. We go into the Smithsonian Institute, and I remember natural history, and they got a humongous elephant. You walk in, man, he's standing up there, and you go around, you look at the place, and the place is hushed. I mean, there's a sound of shuffling feet, murmurs, it's like a library, Anyway, we finally happened onto this big map on a tabletop. This thing was huge. I mean, it was, I don't know, maybe 60 feet long, 40 feet across. And it must have been in the Washington area because it had the mountains built in and the buildings and whatnot, you know. And once again, I'm saying it's quiet, hushed. Well, I'm standing there, quietly, hushedly looking at this thing. And I notice something's going on in my pocket. I'm trying not to pay attention to it, but it's getting really bad. All of a sudden, I'm jumping around. I'm going, hot damn, and I'm slapping my leg. Holy smokes! And my wife is going, man, people are pulling back. If I'd done it today, they'd have shot me because, of course, you know, this was years before 9/11. And I'm jumping around going, hot damn. And I'm running my hand down my pocket. What in the bloody blazes? And I pull this smoking thing out of my pocket, and it's that battery. And that paper clip had gotten over the positive and negative side of that battery. You know, they have a hot plate in your pocket. And that paper clip was glowing, man. And my wife's going, I don't know him. I never saw this guy before. But I'm probably the only guy in the history of the world who is leaping and jumping with a smoking pocket in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. because he is stupid enough to put a battery and a paper clip in his pocket. So, anyway, happened to me. I don't know if, like I said, if it happened today with all the terrorist crap that's going on, I'd probably dead. But it didn't, they didn't kill me. They just let me settle down. Let me see if I got anything of any interest here. The Waco trip I told you about. Oh yeah. What are people all over the world? I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't ever have that many hits on like this one here, you know, 20, 30, you know. But as a group, my hits, like last month, this just amazes me. There was 1,400 hits on my site, and some people spent hours. I mean, I appreciate your interest. I really do, because I'm just an old bloke here in the middle of Texas, out in the prairie, that just sits back and runs his mind, runs his mouth. Let me see what else I got here. But I appreciate it. I would read the list, but it's long. It's amazing. It's probably got 25 or 30 countries on it, all over the world. Oh yeah. Saw a person on Facebook said that USA needs a good whooping. I forget what the content was, but in one of the little captions down underneath, he said, United States needs a good whooping. You know, maybe we're not always right, and maybe, you know, hey, we, little comeuppance, you know. But a good whooping would entail nuclear weapons, biological warfare, I mean, all kind of nasty stuff. Now, this person that said the United States needs a good ass whooping, do they think that whoever the ass whoopers might be, are they going to come in and pick them up personally and take them aside so they won't experience all this bad stuff? You know, whoever that person was needs to give a little thought to what they're saying, because it would be some draconian crap. You better hope we never get an ass whipping, because there's people out there, especially the, you know, there's a certain segment of the world come down here and cut our heads off with a rusty knife, think they've done a real favor. So don't go pleading for any more ass whoopings. We really don't need one. Oh yeah, Dollar General. I gotta Hang on, let's see if I've got one. This is good. Come on, Richard. No, don't. Well, you guys out there, have you ever gone in a place and you buy a $2 comb? It's in shrink wrapped and stuff, and it says, unbreakable. And you take the thing and you rip it open and you comb your hair for a while. And in 2-3 weeks, a month, you start losing teeth. They're coming out. Pretty soon the thing's chunky. You gotta go buy another unbreakable one. Well, go to Dollar General. They sell combs, like 10 of them, in this shrink-wrapped thing for $1 or $1.50, and those mothers are indestructible. I mean, I got one here that's pink. No man worth his salt carries a pink comb around, but I've got one because it won't break. It's one of Dollar General's specials, and the only way I get rid of Dollar General combs is I lose them. They don't break, so if you really want a comb that doesn't break, go get them at Dollar General. Man, Dollar General. Oops. What we got here? Oh, yeah. Our governor, Rick Perry. You've heard about the shootings that went on down in Kaufman County. In Kaufman County, but they shot a DA, shot a guy and his wife at their home. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and Kaufman County has put up a $100,000 reward. So our governor, Mr. Perry, he said the state of Texas would offer up to $100,000 in reward for information to that. There's a big difference between a $100,000 reward and up to $100,000. I'm guessing that if some miracle happened and I gleaned some information and they caught this guy, I'd get a framed certificate and $2.75. He says, hey, we just said it was up to, And if it was his brother-in-law, he'd probably get the 100,000. But Mr. Perry needs to, I don't want to say choose his words better, but he did choose his words. He chose them exactly the one he wanted to. We will put up to $100,000. Horse hockey. Anyway, here's your certificate. Be happy. I expect I've gone on long enough. Been a good week, and I'll probably get on here midweek and do something else because I've gotta try to meld this before midnight with the other videos, and I want to run them. If I have any luck at all, this will be the lead-in, and then you'll see today's little snippets of our trip to Austin. So, good evening to Richard Stunner, Glenn Roof, my sons Kyle and Carl. Love you both. Brian Coder, Daryl Mackey. I don't know if you've called David Berg, but Dave's doing good. I talked to him last week. He's up and around. Ike, hope the mosquitoes aren't getting you. Tyler, if you're out there, sign on. And Crystal, I know you look from time to time. Crystal is one of the technicians at my dialysis center, and she looks. So, hi, Crystal. And Richard Heitzenrader, once again. If you're out there and you ever take a look, give me a shout, say hi, make a comment. Anyway, I think that's probably enough. I've had a good time this week. Here's my buddy.